The sun shone, having no alternative, on the nothing new. The day began with a bang at the door. It was my neighbor. She needed a cup of sugar. I had none. She had asked for a cup of sugar every morning since I moved in, until I gave her my last granule. That was 3 months ago. Still, she returned, every morning, at 7:30, the time when neighbors ask for sugar when there is none. This is the Norka News. Believe it or else. Social media guru Buster Knoxville, who often stays up to midnight or later, went to bed at 9:30 on Wednesday night. His tweet about this garnered 137 hearts and 42 retweets. The Facebook event for his early bedtime had 94 people RSVP as going, and 214 people interested in going. Buster's Kickstarter campaign raised just over $4,000 to help him with his apparent sleep disorder. That amount was matched by a grant from the Cooper T. Burton Foundation for Social Media Twats. A fire reported at 2984 Brook Run Drive turned out to be only a fire sale, being held by homeowners Tom Langhorn and Jerry Tuttle. It was actually just a garage sale, but the homeowners thought it would attract more attention if they called it a fire sale. As fate would have it, the garage ended up catching on fire after one of Jerry's oil lamps was knocked over, killing 7 and bringing this report to a nicely completed full circle. On Thursday, superhero Captain America revealed that on 90% of the images that show him throwing his shield, for items such as stickers or t-shirts, are just for show. In other words, there is no villain that he is throwing his shield at most of the time. The Captain said, "I don't mind it. I have gotten quite used to throwing my shield at inanimate objects." He continued by revealing that he does have a bad case of tendinitis in his throwing elbow, and that he wouldn't mind doing less shield throws and more patriotic poses where he salutes Old Glory with one foot on a passed-out Nazi henchman. While digging in the backyard, 4-year-old Travis Smits found the first indisputable evidence of alien life. He played with the tiny wounded purple creature for a good 10 minutes before fatally crushing it after attempting a high five. While driving to Myrtle Beach with his wife and 3 children, 38-year-old accountant Terry Jones actually turned the car around and started to drive back home, making good on his 12 previous threats. Seamstress Mary England sneezed 6 times in a row last Tuesday. She needed to sneeze a 7th time, but tried to resist the urge, afraid of the urban legend that claims that after 7 consecutive sneezes, the devil can claim your soul. Needing to sneeze, Mary pinched her nose and closed her mouth for the 7th one, which caused her head to explode. The news briefs were brought to you by Claritin. Just 1 Claritin a day guarantees a maximum of 4 consecutive sneezes at any point. Before it's too late, take a Claritin, for goodness sake. Switching gears, the Akron-based Checkers Sugar Company has sent the following news release. Checkers Sugar prides itself on a long history of providing sugar to thousands of people every day. That is why it pains us to announce that the sugar packaging plant will be closing for the entire week in order to do some deep cleaning after we found a problem. Simply put, we have ants. Our CEO, Wally Winkle, addressed his employees from his office that overlooks the facility to announce the sad news. Mr. Winkle said, "I am as shocked as you are at the presence of ants in our sugar plant. No one could have seen this coming. Just like Hurricane Katrina destroyed that one place down south, we too are the victims of an unforgiving and unpredictable Mother Nature." Mr. Winkle continued his statement, saying, "We all know tragedies like this have happened other places, but you never think it can happen to you. When the Sweet Dreams chocolate factory was invaded by ants last summer, everyone thought it was a freak accident. Then the Carolot Caramel candy plant was overcome by the insects. Why have ants decided to randomly attack our businesses?" Checkers Sugar has hired the exterminator Chemical Blast, which should get rid of most of the ants. We are dedicated as a staff and company to kill every last ant. We have invested in magnifying glasses for all employees who have been directed to destroy any ant they see. Also, we are going to make concerted efforts to close the back door after coming in from smoke breaks. The city of Akron would like to address the issue of blood for a moment. As many residents have already noticed, items within their homes that don't usually bleed have started doing so lately. Some have encountered a carpet or occasional rug sopping wet with blood. Others have opened their pantry only to be met with a red flood. And multiple families have been subjected to blood showers. The city would like to reassure residents that all bleeding from inanimate objects is completely normal. Every 5 years, the city and its residents are subject to a hex cast in 1874, stating that the good people of Akron in America's United States would suffer through a bloodbath for 10 consecutive days as payment for the recipe theft. In the previous year, 1873, the owner of the Akron restaurant Ye Olde Dining Hall stole a world-famous recipe from the city's resident witches, the Johnsons. In return, the Johnsons placed the hex upon the city for 300 years, so other than annoyance, this is a completely natural and expected occurrence. Residents should be aware that a variety of items could begin bleeding at any time over the next 9 days. This includes, but is not limited to, microwave ovens, bars of Irish Spring soap, original scent, or Mountain Bliss, Thomas Kincaid paintings, CD collections from the late 90s, ironic t-shirts, open wounds, unopened packages of Peeps, membership cards for the John Stamos Fan Club of Akron, Ohio, traffic lights, marbles, Malibu Barbie dream houses, zucchini muffins, which, if they were dry to begin with, is not a bad thing. Also, as a general reminder, July is mozzarella month, when many trees in Akron smell like mozzarella cheese for some mysterious reason, and sculptures of American Indians typically weep on Friday afternoons. This is all normal. Proceed accordingly. Breaking news is coming in right now. Oh, listeners, this is tragic. If you were hearing this for the first time from me, I just... Oh boy. The fact that you will always associate this event with my voice, well, it just sends chills down my spine. Okay, so, it's my duty as a professional member of the media to report the news, no matter how utterly despairing it is. I have just learned, God rest his soul, that the famed thespianite, Sir Robert De Niro, Esquire, has shuffled off this mortal coil. Wait, is it moral coil? Feral boy? No. Mortal coil. Shuffled off this mortal coil. Yeah, that's the one. Well, either way, he's dead now, and we are all worse off. Sorry you had to hear it first on the Norka News. And now, an update on the Akron presidential race. With Akron President Robert Boudoir announcing that he would not seek re-election after proposing the idea that all children born in the city would be formally referred to as Bobby's kids, the race for the president's seat is wide open. After our last report, dozens of candidates had filed for their nomination, but most of them quickly dropped out after realizing that it wasn't the first person to file who got the job. So you could say that the field of candidates has narrowed itself down, and here are the remaining candidates. Lou Shafty, 58, is known locally as the producer of adult films, but his mark on the nation is his Etsy page, where he sells crafty jewelry made from found items like frosted sea glass and reclaimed exotic woods. Something of a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. What was the other guy's name? Mr. Silly? Mr. Scary Pants? Mr. High and Low? Oh, whatever. The creepy guy. Can Shafty shake the negative connotations associated with a man who can successfully run an Etsy shop? Chuck Cravings, 52, owns the local restaurant chain Cravings. Known for running fantastic coupons for his restaurants and then refusing to accept any, will Chuck take the same hard-nosed approach to his stance on politics? And will it even matter when your food is so addictive that people are convinced that it has been laced with an addictive drug? Chuck is generally known for his radical right view on politics, which he often explains to patrons of his restaurant in the form of a screaming rant while they enjoy a dish of baked Parmesan ziti. Marianne Poplar, 61, is the founder of a nonprofit organization, A Beautiful Forest, which is a wooded area where people can go hike and do yoga and stuff, and she also volunteers at Dunhill Pond as the primary toad ambassador. Everything she says is in a whisper, a characteristic that may prove to be a handicap during any debates that she participates in. Dalton Bean, 44, is a shoe salesman at Soul Purpose Shoes. Not much is publicly known about Bean, except that his Facebook page seems to show that he has a wife and 2 children, and that he achieved a high score in Candy Crush last Friday. And a careful listener who went to high school with Bean pointed out that in his senior yearbook, he was voted most likely to have a wife and 2 kids. Wow, exciting stuff there. Richard Martell, 55, longtime city council member and community volunteer, may be the leading candidate from the start. Martell is a veteran who served in the U.S.-Canada maple syrup conflict in the late 90s, and is generally recognized as the man who single-handedly turned the maple syrup faucet from Canada back on for the U.S., halting the steady decline in diabetes in our country. Daniel Devine, 58, CEO of Salty Seas Loan and Mortgages, rounds out the candidates. Devine, one of Akron's few financial experts who passionately believe in gnomes, trolls, will-o-wisps, and Ponzi schemes, will come to the election with unabashed supporters. But will he be able to convince the general populace that proven facts are open for debate? Only time will tell. The emergency broadcast system would like to remind you that the interns will sometimes pull pranks and broadcast fake emergencies through the system. For anyone concerned that the broadcast this morning that a tornado filled with tarantulas, or Terranado, is approaching with speed, fear not. This was a product of our interns' imagination. Terranados are not real. Also not real is a tornado that contains many Terra reeds, also called a Terranado. However, the earthquake-spewing undead creatures, or zombiequake, that was broadcast an hour ago is absolutely real. Please take the appropriate action to ensure that your savings bonds are redistributed to the government before letting yourself be devoured by the horde of flesh-eaters. Thank you. Do you like to eat food for sustenance? If yes, this news is going to be music to your digestive tract. Spunkinelli Companies, the parent company that brought the world TGIF, or Thank God It's Friday, announced that they will be opening 6 new restaurants in the Akron area by next fall. First on the slate is TZIS, Thank Zeus It's Saturday, which will make a name for its menu consisting of entirely fried foods, including a drink special, the Down South Cosmo, a traditional Cosmo served in a deep-fat fried martini glass with powdered sugar on the rim. Next on the list is TJIS, Thank Jehovah It's Sunday. The TJIS menu will specialize on poppers. Start with the Caesar salad popper, with a side of quesadilla poppers. For the main course, why not go for the filet mignon poppers, with edamame poppers? And for dessert, the battered Oreo poppers can't be beat. Also, watch for the chef special, the cilantro-spiced veal popper. TJIS will soon be followed by TSIM, Thank Shiva It's Monday, opening on High Street, TAIT, Thank Allah It's Tuesday on Dartmouth Avenue, and TYIW, Thank Yahweh It's Wednesday, second floor of the Anderson Building, downtown. The restaurant chain's expansion culminates with TBIHHOAST, or Thank Bob It's Happy Hour on a Sunday Thursday, a tribute to Bob Spunkinelli, founder of Spunkinelli Companies. TBIHHOAST will have a happy hour all day long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So start expanding your waistline now to prepare for gastronomic delights that are sure to shorten your lifespan by 7 years. Listeners, I have great news. Jan, the office manager, just handed me a piece of paper. The earlier news that Robert De Niro is dead was indeed an erroneous report. As it turns out, our research department, I didn't know that we had a research department. It found the news on the internet, and the internet seems to have intentionally falsified this news. It's a sick joke, internet, well below your standards. We are happy to report that Robert De Niro is alive and well. Let's take a stroll on over to the sports desk. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? Go on back to your regular desk now. This has been Sports, brought to you by the voices in your head. That's right, folks. The voices in your head have been responsible for every sports moment you can recall. That one time you scored the winning basket in the league championship game? Have you replayed that moment in your memory at least 1,000 times? It's almost like an animated GIF stuck on repeat, isn't it? Almost as if it's someone else's memory, carefully filed into your thoughts by the voices. The voices. The voices. The voices. I just received a note from Jan, the office manager, thank you, Jan, that says that I forgot to read the information about the next phase of the presidential race. I don't know how I forgot to read anything, Jan. It's all right here. Maybe you forgot to put it on the stack of... Now, wait a minute. I didn't accuse you of anything. There's no reason to resort to name-calling, and now with the obscene gestures, I don't think waving that in the air is going to solve anything. Could we resolve this like adults, perhaps? Oh, Jan. Ugh. Listeners, Jan just spat at me, which is no way for a woman your age to act. How old do I think you are? Well, gosh, I guess you're in your 70s. But well, I'm 47. I see. I just, with the gray hair and the moo-moo, I just thought, no, you're right. No, life doesn't get any easier after 40. I'm very sorry, Jan. I'll just go ahead and read this piece of news I missed. With a slate of 6 candidates ready to start campaigning for the presidential seat, the field will start to thin itself over the next few weeks during the Survivor Challenge. Local listeners will recall that the Scout Troop 3384 found a lost village last year just north of our city called Claveland. For the Survivor Challenge, each of the presidential candidates will be transported to Claveland by helicopter. Any that make it back to Akron can still run for president. Candidates are allowed to impede the progress of other candidates by any means necessary. And this is what I love about the election process. It's not about trivial banter and shaming your opponent because of a past laden with thoroughly immoral behavior. It's about survival, sticking to your guns, literally, and often good old-fashioned fisticuffs. Ain't election years fun? Let's wrap up today's broadcast with the horoscopes. Capricorn, your appointment with death has been postponed due to an overbooked flight from Orlando, but Death found a connecting flight through Atlanta and will be at your doorstep by noon tomorrow. Constipated Leos, a penny saved is a penny earned. A penny stolen is also a penny earned, just in a less ethical way. A penny fabricated out of cat hair and brown mud is not a penny. It is artwork with an approximate value of $200, which is why artists make more money than the rest of us fools saving up jars of pennies. Libra. If you're not going to ask her out to the prom now, it's never going to happen. Of course, if you do ask her to the dance, some may frown upon a 52-year-old man proposing this question to a 17-year-old. Pisces. If you didn't read last month's horoscope about how you would have very little time left to live, no problem. That one was intended for Sagittarius. The stars decided to play a little trick. Silly stars. Sagittarius. Well, this is awkward, isn't it? Not that it matters much at this point, but you also are going to get food poisoning before you kick the bucket. Scorpio. In the long run, it's probably not a big deal that you experimented with marijuana in college. It's a little bigger deal that you experimented with organ harvesting on the black market. Geminis with an identity crisis. The stars have no predictions for you today. They're just not feeling it for your sign right now. They say that it's not you, it's them. Well, it might be you a little. Capricorn. You should realize that alcohol is not the answer. Suicide is also not the answer. If you had been paying attention, you'd know that the answer is Professor Plum in the study with a candlestick. Aquarius. By the end of the week, you will see the light. Go toward it. But as you get closer, you realize that something is blocking your progress, some invisible barrier. You'll try and try, but can't break through. Oh, no, wait. That was the horoscope for a fly. For Gemini, let's see. Gemini. Here it is. You're going to the Olive Garden on Saturday. Virgo. Every time you take a selfie, an angel loses its wings to Satan. This just in. It seems our earlier reporting on Robert De Niro has taken an unexpected turn. After we incorrectly reported that Mr. De Niro was dead, famed Akron impersonator Bobbert De Niro was found dead in his apartment, the apparent victim of a failed heart. Bobbert was known for his absolutely terrible impression of his namesake, but he did a decent version of Kevin Spacey. Just to clarify, Robert is still alive, but Bobbert is no longer with us. Godspeed, Bobbert. May the afterlife have a parking spot just for you, the space reserved for Bobbert. On that sad note, we close the books on another broadcast of the Norka News. Believe it or else.
The Norka News is produced by Strangely Attractive Productions. It is written by Kirk Clyden and edited by Brian Hollingsworth. The voice of the Norka News is Christopher Heisey. The music in the show is Flexible Phantoms of the Sky by the Beyonderers. More information about the band and upcoming shows is at thebeyonderers.com or at the band's Facebook page. The opening sentence of today's episode was from Murphy by Samuel Beckett. If you are interested in submitting to the Norka News, listening to previous shows, or learning more about the show and its creators, go to norkanews.com. Or hit us up with a review on iTunes or Facebook, or give us a follow on Twitter or Instagram. As always, thanks for listening.